is August the 23rd, 2016. My name is Tanya Finchum. I'm with Oklahoma State University, and today I am in Ottawa County. Did I say that right?
Yes.
In the town of Miami to interview Julie Smith, and this is part of our Cowboy in every county project, so thank you for having me today.
Thank you for coming.
Let's begin with learning when and where you were born.
I was born in Joplin, Missouri, May 11th, 1978.
Okay. And what did your parents do for a living?
My parents were both educators, and they were in education until they retired. My dad is still an educator, so he retired from public school, and then now he works for a federally funded program called Talent Search.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have two sisters. I'm the middle of three girls. So my older sister, Jennifer, she was 3 years older than me, and then I have a younger sister, Jill, who's 2 years younger than me, and she went to Oklahoma State also. Yeah.
After. Did the first one, the older sister, go?
She didn't. She went to Missouri Southern in Joplin.
Oh, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to share a room?
We did in our sorority house, but we didn't
Growing up?
growing up. Well, I take that back. We had to share a room for a little bit.
With the younger one or the
I
older?
did with the younger one. My older sister got her own room.
I walked down those paths.
Yeah.
I'm the middle of 32, so shared with the younger.
Uh-huh.
Where did you go to elementary school?
I went to elementary school at Kelsey Norman Elementary, and it was just like 2 blocks from my house. So
Walked
yes,
then.
we would, because both of my parents were teachers, we would be dropped off at a friend's house a block from our house, and that was too far to walk. So we had my friend's mom drive us to school every day. Then we would walk home because it was just up the hill. So.
And was that grades 1 through 6?
It was 1 through 5, and then middle school was 6th and 7th grade at South Middle School. And then we had junior high, which was 7th and 8th grade at Joplin Junior High, and then we went on to Joplin High School for, no, we didn't have, it was 7th, 8th, and 9th, and then 9 through 12, or 10 through 12 was at the high school. It's changed now, so I'm getting all my
four different
years.
buildings.
So yes,
basically.
well, and then there was a kindergarten center that I went to. So
Okay.
yes.
And about how many were in your class each year? Size of the school?
Oh, gosh, I don't remember. Maybe like 20 kids.
Yeah. Okay.
They weren't large classes.
Well, when you graduated from high school, how many
Yes.
was in your graduating class,
Oh, goodness.
roughly?
375.
So a pretty decent size high school.
Mm-hmm.
And what year did you graduate
1996.
from high school?
Yes.
And did you have a favorite subject?
I don't know that I really had a favorite. Had a favorite teacher. So history. I really enjoyed history.
Okay.
But I don't know that I had a really favorite subject.
Well, maybe we'll go the opposite. That any that you really struggled with.
Oh, I don't.
Math.
I think everybody struggles with that. No, I really enjoyed my math teacher. Also, I don't know that anyone that I struggled with anything
Okay.
in particular.
What did you participate in extra?
I was a cheerleader from 8th grade through my senior year, and I swam all 3 years in high school. Was on the swim team. So yes,
That kept you in shape for the
it
cheer.
did.
For the cheering.
It did.
How did the teams do?
We did okay. We had shirts for the swim team. We had our little T-shirts made, and we weren't the best swimmers, but it said at least we look good, because it was a bunch of cheerleaders that were on the swim team. So anyway, it was kind of a little joke.
What was the school mascot?
The Joplin High School Eagles.
Eagles. And the colors would have...
So maroon and white were the main colors, and then like navy and gray kind of were accent colors.
Did you do a part-time job while you were in high school?
I did. I worked when I first started high school. I worked at a store called Tuxedo Junction. So we did tuxedo rentals, and then my parents put a pool in our backyard, and so my mom and I started our own swim company, and I taught swim lessons every summer. I did that all the way through college. I would go back to Joplin every summer, and our company was called Aqua Academy. So I really enjoyed that because I love working with kids.
And sunscreen was important even at that
Yes.
point, wasn't it? I mean, it already
Long
become
so-
important.
yes, and sometimes the summers would start out so cool we would be in the water in a wetsuit just to get through the day. So
Did any of the ones not be able to swim? I know some people just can't ever learn to do it.
I think all of our students were pretty successful. I even taught a little girl with spina bifida how to swim, and it was obviously a modified version, but she was able to float and, take breaths and enjoy the water. So
Keep her head above water.
yes.
Cool.
Mhm.
And you had a pool in your backyard that.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's neat too.
Yeah.
And some you didn't get blistered, hopefully.
No, not too bad. Not too
Would
bad.
the family take family vacations?
We didn't take too many vacations. There were two memorable vacations. I remember skiing whenever I was in elementary school, and then we went to Disney World whenever I was in, I think, maybe middle school. So,
That definitely sticks with you.
Oh, yes.
Mickey Mouse.
yes.
Well, take me through how you decided to go to OSU.
Well,
How did
so
it come on?
my parents were born and raised here in Miami. So
Okay.
Oklahoma was never out of the picture of going to school, but my parents were also in school the time Steve Owens was a big hit. So OU was kind of always in our blood, but my mom had gone to OSU and so did her sister. So there was always a little bit of orange and black around, and I had aunts and uncles that went to Oklahoma State. So when it came time looking at colleges, I went and visited OSU and felt at home. I think everybody there was so friendly, and just everybody seemed very genuine, and I think that's really what drew me to Oklahoma State.
What year did your mother graduate from there?
She actually didn't graduate from OSU. She went, I don't even know the years that she was there, but she graduated from Pitt State, ended up coming back and graduating from Pitt State.
Was she majoring in education at OSU then? Or did
I've
she
never
switch?
asked her, I think. I can't believe I've never asked her. I assumed that it was education.
Well, would you go down to Stillwater before you actually even
No.
went to look at the college?
No, it was just, my senior year, because before my senior year in high school, I was selected to be an NCAA cheerleading instructor. So I thought that I might try the cheerleading at OSU, but then I got cold feet and I didn't go through with tryouts. So that was really the first time that I spent any amount of time on campus, was in the spring, going down to their cheer clinics, and then I was involved in the Greek system, so I went down to Greek Discovery Day, and that was
So before
It was-
classes actually started, you had some
yes.
familiarity of the campus.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. The first time you went, did anything stand out as far as buildings or places on campus that?
No, I don't know if I liked how the campus was kind of compact at the time. It didn't feel overwhelming. So,
Theta Pond was.
Theta Pond was
so
beautiful.
nice.
Yes. And Library Law and the library. I think the library probably stood out to me.
That's
It's
good to
just
hear.
such a beautiful building, and right there in the middle of campus.
Have you been back lately to campus?
We were there we go a lot during basketball season. So
So the grounds have changed a lot since
Yes.
'96, I'm thinking, or
Yes.
since we came. So for you too, I'm sure.
it has. New buildings have popped up.
And under construction now, the business building is huge.
And I can't wait to see it. And all of my classes while I was at OSU we're in the Colvin Center, and that doesn't look anything the same.
Yeah. So your major was?
My major was physical education.
Okay. And what you intended to do with that teach in high school?
I taught for 4 years after I graduated. I taught a year in Dallas at a private school, and then my husband went to law school at OU, so I taught 3 years while we lived in Norman. Taught physical education, pre-K through 8th grade.
You had to spend some time at the other
Yes.
university down south, as they say.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, while you were on campus at OSU, where did you live? Well, I know the first year you were not in the sorority house.
Just until fall break, I lived. I think it was fall break. It may have been till Christmas. It was the first semester. I lived in Drummond Hall.
Okay.
And then at semester, I got to move into the sorority house.
And which one did you pledge?
I was a Kappa Alpha Theta.
Okay.
Yes.
And you remember your room number in Drummond?
Well, I remember my first room. It was on the 12th floor.
Wow.
And then I got to move down to the 3rd floor with a pledge sister of mine. But I don't remember room numbers.
Okay. I mean, 12th floor, how many, was that the top or
I
really
think
close to?
it has to be close to the top. Yes. And actually, one of my very good friends, she and I saw her this weekend. We were talking about being on the 12th floor of Drummond Hall. So, lots of memories.
Was it communal bathrooms or did you have?
Was
it?
Yes.
And
that was one of our topics of discussion over the weekend.
Like it or you don't?
Yes. I don't know that it was my favorite.
And did your room have a phone or did you have to go down the hall for that too?
I think we did have phones in our room. Yes.
Okay.
But I remember through Rush, they took our phones out, so we didn't have phones. Only certain, they were like pulled out in the hall, so.
Oh, why?
Well, I don't think they wanted us really to have a lot of outside influence while we were going through Rush. So we had to make our own decisions, which I liked. I think nowadays they can use their cell phone anytime they want. So.
Too much, yes.
Yes.
Well, how often would you call home?
Oh, every day.
Would you?
Yes, every day.
And how often would you come home?
Maybe once a month. It depends on it really depended on how many activities were going on the weekends. If there was a home football game, you'd never go home. You'd always stay around for the football games. So, maybe once a month.
More than once a semester.
Oh, yes.
More.
And with Joplin being just 2.5 hours, 3 hours away, it wasn't that bad of a drive.
Would they come down to visit?
Yes. And it was always so fun having them down, getting them to showing my parents around campus, and convincing my little sister to come to OSU. So.
Did it take much convincing?
Oh no, not at all.
She saw how much you
I think the
enjoyed
first homecoming probably sold her.
Okay.
Yes.
Homecoming does that.
Oh,
huge.
for sure.
Was it as big in 96, 97?
I think
That
it
early?
seemed pretty big.
It just seems to get bigger.
We had, let's see, all the, what was it? The carnival, I think it's at the fairgrounds now. No, what is it called? It's probably not even called a carnival. But anyway, I'm trying to think what other activity. Well, we did being involved in a sorority, we did the house decks and the sign contest and, oh gosh, it's been a long time. What else was involved in homecoming?
Did they do the floats? And
We did
parade?
float. Now the parade I think was just getting started to the extent that it is today.
So you had to pomp?
We pumped several hours, but it was so fun because you really got to know everybody in your sorority, and then whatever fraternity you were paired up with, you got to know those guys and form some really good friendships.
I've always wondered how they come up with the designs. And
Yes. Whoever is the chairman for homecoming, the homecoming chair for the houses, they have to come up with it.
They're
always
more mechanical. And
Yes, that's the
gorgeous.
guys.
That's the guys.
Yes, that's the guy's job.
Out doing the welding at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Would you miss classes in order to pomp?
I don't think that I ever missed too many classes. Probably a few 8 o'clock classes, but not too many.
Well, did you have to do so many per week? I mean, did every girl
Yes,
have to?
or
do
so
some-
many hours just total.
Total.
However you got those hours in during homecoming time was good.
Yeah.
It could be in the afternoon or the evening, whenever you had free time.
Had to be a good time manager then.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I don't know that I was always a very good time manager, but you learn quick.
Or would you have study hours?
We were not required study hours unless our grade point fell below probably like a 2.5. But grades were always important to me, especially having parents as educators.
Yes. Would they get your grades, or would you have to show them your grades? But at some point, do you know
I think they
changed
pulled
that?
them. I don't remember ever really having to show my grades. Somehow they always knew.
They mailed them to your. To them at
Probably.
they've changed that now, so I'm not sure when that happened. So when you were
Yes.
there, your parents got them.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you have a favorite class?
I
either of you?
think all of my classes, once I got into my major as physical education, I loved all of my classes. Now I think one of my favorites, I don't think that I got credit for it, but it was a program called Share the Wealth, and it was through the Wellness Center. So we were peer educators. That was probably one of my favorite classes because we would go out to a lot of different organizations, the resident halls, the Greek houses, and talk about just different health topics, alcohol use and study skills, and what else we had to do presentations. So it was fun to go in, and I mean, it was just a way to meet more people, and it was a way for me to see how I could use my degree besides just in the classroom.
What were some of the PE classes that you would have had?
So we had elementary PE and outdoor education. That was a very fun class because I got to learn how to do archery, and they taught us how to fly fish in the gymnasium at the Colvin Center. I don't know that we ever did a ropes course, but we did. Well, I was probably too chicken. I probably did the low ropes because I don't like anything too adventurous.
I would think, as petite as you are, that archery would have been tough to pull.
It really wasn't too bad. It was a lot of fun to learn. A lot of fun. And I've got 2 boys, so I've kind of told them, not that I practice archery, but I've told them, well, I remember this from school, so.
You could hit the bullseye if you
Yes.
if you had to.
Well, maybe.
Did they have dance? Was dance
We
part
did.
of-
We
part
did
of it?
dance. I actually found a VHS tape of me teaching adaptive dance from whenever I was in school. So it was funny to see myself up in front of my peers teaching them how to dance.
Well, if you hadn't been majored in PE, would you have been required to take a PE class?
I don't think so.
Well, that changed something during that too.
I did have to take first aid and CPR, but I want to say maybe that was probably a basic that a lot of people had to take.
And then you took the state test or whatever to get certified to
Yes,
teach?
3 different, yes. I don't even know if it's the same process that they have to go through, taking the 3 different tests to become certified.
I'm
I
not
haven't followed up.
You had to do anatomy? Would you have had
I
to do
did.
anatomy?
I did anatomy and physiology, exercise physiology.
Imagine that would be tough, a tough class.
Anatomy was interesting. I actually enjoyed anatomy. We had to evaluate or break down a movement. So I did a swimmer starting from a starting block, and we had to write a paper about every muscle that, all the whole process that your body would go through to get you off of that starting block. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, you
So I
wouldn't
guess I like science.
Teaching how to swim, you wouldn't think necessarily
Right.
to that
Right.
to that depth.
Mm-hmm.
You tied it all in together.
Yes, they made us tie it together. But it was good. I really enjoyed all my teachers. I thought they were really helpful. They really let us apply what we learned in the classroom out of the textbook to what we would teach in the classroom. So,
Well, besides studying in sorority, what would you do for fun?
I enjoyed going and walking the lake.
Boomer?
Yes, Boomer Lake. We would go and walk the lake.
Exercise again?
Yeah, I really like to exercise. In intramural sports, it was lots of memories with intramural sports. It was so fun.
What
did
sports?
flag football, wiffle ball, inner tube water polo. That was a lot of fun. I was actually telling my boys about that the other day with the Olympics being on. I said, I don't know how those water polo guys, and I don't know how they can constantly swim for that amount of time. I said, but we did it in college, but we were in an inner tube, so we didn't have to swim.
And do it in the pool there?
Yes. So, yes.
I hadn't heard anyone talk about that. I don't know if they still do that or not.
I don't know if they do or not either, but it was so much fun.
And mostly females, or was it?
It was co-ed. So I think there were both just, I should look back because I don't remember if that was a co-ed. I think it was a co-ed sport. And then football, we did both co-ed and just girls only. So it was a lot of fun. I like being active.
You probably don't take elevators then if you've got stairs.
Right. Not too many.
Well, do you have a favorite building on campus besides the health-oriented ones? Like you said, the library. Did you spend much time in the student union?
I didn't. I really did. It seems like all of my time was in the Colvin Center or the Wellness Center, because that's really where my classes were. So many of my classes.
Would they do nutrition too?
I had to have nutrition, and originally that was my major. Until I took my first nutrition class, my first semester, my freshman year, and it was a little overwhelming because I didn't have the best study skills, and I didn't make the best grade, so I thought, well, I better change my major so I can be successful. So I didn't stick with nutrition very long, but I did have to have nutrition.
I would think with the health you would need some.
Yes, and I'm trying to think what building that class was in. I don't even remember what building I had that in. It was a big lecture hall. I think that was my only class that was in a big lecture hall.
I'm guessing probably in HES or Human Sciences. HES, it should have a big lecture hall.
It probably was.
So you didn't mind walking from the sorority house all the way to the Colvin? I mean, that's a little bit of a
Well, it was
hike.
nice because at the time they had a parking lot, so I would drive over.
Okay.
Especially on those really cold mornings. I would just jump in the car and drive over.
They both
Plug the
like it.
meter because it was, I think, a quarter meter, so yes.
And you mentioned you went to football games. Did you go to basketball games too?
Yes, I loved going to basketball games.
You have a circle of friends that migrated with you to these various places?
Yes, mainly, well, my boyfriend at the time, but my late husband, we would always go to all of the sporting events together, so.
And was he from Miami?
Yes,
Miami?
he's from Miami. He was born and raised here in Miami.
What, did you know him before you went to OSU?
Well, sort of. Our parents, I said before, my parents were born and raised here in Miami, and his parents are born and raised in Miami, so they all graduated high school together. And at probably their 20-year class reunion, we met, but we were young, so I didn't remember Greg. And it was my senior year, my mom and I ran into his parents at the grocery store in Joplin. And so we were talking about where I was going to go to school and mentioned Oklahoma State. And they said, oh, our son goes to Oklahoma State. So we need to introduce you to him so that you'll have a familiar face and maybe he could show you to your classes. So we met Memorial weekend right as soon as I graduated, so that was in '96.
No, okay.
And then the summer passed, and I never, I just knew who Greg was. He was a really nice guy, and actually his family lives, their yard and my grandparents' yard kind of touched. So I would always look out in my grandparents' backyard to see if Greg was home, to see if his car was there. But it wasn't until I went through Rush that he called and said, once you finish Rush, I'd love to show you around to your classes. And then on bid day, he showed up. So that was the start.
How much older was he?
He was just a year older.
So
he had already gone through his freshman year. So
he had been a sophomore.
Yes.
Was he in a fraternity?
He was a Sigma Nu.
I'm not sure what a bid day is. I didn't go through.
So bid day is the day that you are invited into your sorority.
Okay.
So it's just kind of a big party atmosphere, and people are all over the streets, and your parents are there, and friends are all around, and so it's a lot of fun.
Okay. So that was from that, and that started.
Yes,
Then
that started. And then he showed me to all my classes the night before school started, and then we actually had our first date, August 23rd of '96.
Okay. And what did you do?
So we went to Applebee's.
Okay.
And then we went and saw a movie, Tin Cup. So
Kevin Costner.
yes, a golf movie. My husband, he loved golf, so.
Well, I met my husband on the 23rd too. We went to see Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Oh.
Teacup's a little better.
Yes.
What was his major at OSU?
So he majored in finance, and then
Okay.
his minor was international business.
Well, was he always headed toward OSU, or was there a college he debated back and forth?
He looked at OSU
From the get-go?
quite a bit. Mm-hmm.
Did he have brothers and sisters that had gone before him there?
He didn't. His parents and his sister went to Tahlequah. They went to NSU.
Okay. So no OSU, no orange there.
Right.
So did you date it through your whole 4 years?
Yes.
Or did you get married in between?
We got married after I graduated from OSU. So in July 22nd, 2000 is when we got married.
So you waited until you were finished?
Yes.
Parents' requirement or just your own?
It was our own. We got engaged October of '99. So Greg had graduated and was working for Bank of Oklahoma. So.
Well, how did that work in the sorority house when you? I know they used to throw them in Theta Pond or something when you got.
No, in the sorority house we would. You announce your engagement by candlelight. So after a formal dinner on Monday night, all the girls in the sorority would circle up and sing a song, and you would pass a flower bouquet with a candle in it. You would pass it around the circle, and then the person that was making the announcement would blow the candle out. So, yes, and you keep it a secret from everybody. You try to, but obviously my sister was in the house, so she knew, but nobody else did.
So she pledged the same.
She did. She pledged Theta 2 years after I did.
Huh.
Yes.
That would have been neat to have her that close
It
to.
was. It was really special.
Get along pretty well.
Yes.
Well, what was her major at OSU?
Her major was interior merchandising. Mm-hmm.
And did she graduate?
She did.
She finished. So 2 years after you. So
Yes.
2002.
2002. Mm-hmm.
So there's several of you from OSU. That's
yes.
good.
Yes.
So you got a closet full of orange.
That's
or
right.
A few things orange. Do you remember your graduation day?
I remember it a little bit. I remember just a little bit. It was, yeah, I don't remember too much.
Probably a mixed emotion.
It was for sure.
Was it in the arena or in the football stadium? Don't remember that either.
Oh my goodness. I think we were still outside. I think we were at the football stadium. That's terrible. I don't remember.
No, that's okay. It's been a few years.
It has, and a lot's gone on.
So once you graduated, take me through
Okay.
what you've done since.
Mhm. So as soon as I graduated, got married and moved to Dallas because after Greg went through training with Bank of Oklahoma, he was moved to Bank of Texas, which is a subsidiary of Bank of Oklahoma. So he was, as soon as we got married, I moved to Dallas and applied for teaching positions and got hired on as a pre-K through 8th grade physical education teacher at Hillcrest Academy, which is just a small private school there in Dallas. And it was nice being my first teaching job. I got to team teach, so there were 2 of us that taught. So I was in charge of, or the head teacher for pre-K through 5th grade, and then she did the middle school, and I assisted her. But then I was asked to coach volleyball, which I didn't know a whole lot about volleyball, but I learned quickly and ended up taking our small team to whatever division that we were in with the private schools. They ended up winning the championship.
Your first year.
My first year. So unfortunately, I didn't get to go to the championship game because I had to have my appendix taken out. So, but it was all good. No, I was really proud of him. So that was my first coaching experience, and it was a great one.
Sure.
Yes. So after we lived in Dallas for a year, Greg decided to go to law school and went to law school at OU. So we moved to Norman, and I applied again for teaching positions and got hired on at All Saints Catholic School in Norman and taught pre-K through 8th grade, but this time I was on my own. So it wasn't anything out of the ordinary having that wide of an age span. So I taught for 3 years there until Greg graduated, and we had our first son in May of 2004.
And what's his name? I'm assuming it's a he. Oh, yes, son. Yes. That's okay. May of 2004. When you
Yes.
compared the camp, well, we'll switch topics a little bit. Since you lived in Norman for a while, you had an opportunity to visit that campus too. Did you
Yes.
do anything, compare it to OSU at that time or not?
Not too much, because the law school it's south on campus, so we didn't spend a whole lot of time really down on campus, and we lived on the west side of town, so it wasn't I don't know, we just kind of did our own thing.
Did you go to Bedlam games when they were there?
We did, yes, and we wore our orange, and not many people liked us that sat around us, but yes, we did.
I mean, I wonder about that.
Yes.
Proudly wore your orange.
Oh yes, still proudly wear our orange.
Okay.
Yes.
So once you graduated from there, you moved back to here?
Yes, so after we had Spencer in 2004, we stayed in Norman for just a few months so Greg could take the bar exam, and then we moved back to Miami so he could start. He came back to work with his family here at Larco Enterprises, and so we've been here ever since.
I'm not sure what Larco is. Do you want to explain that a little bit?
Yes. My father-in-law started this company, several years ago. I don't know how long. I don't know when they actually established the company, but they're Sonic franchisees,
Okay.
and from there it's kind of grown into smaller businesses underneath that. So there's real estate aspect, and we actually opened a freestanding restaurant called Stonehill Grill about 8 years ago here in Miami. So
Okay.
there's lots of,
So his background in finance and then legal too would have
Yes.
come in,
yes,
was a good fit.
it was a perfect fit.
And that was his plan to
Yes,
come
his
back
plan
to,
all along.
to come back to
Yes.
Miami.
He definitely wanted to come back and work with his dad.
Okay. And did he have brothers and sisters?
He had a sister, Amy.
Okay.
She went to NSU. She was a few years older than he was.
Is she in the family business?
Yes, she is. She and her husband are.
Cool.
Mhm.
That's neat.
Yes.
Sonic, didn't it start in
Shawnee.
Shawnee, but it was called something else?
Top Hat.
Top Hat, okay.
Yes. Troy Smith started it. It was called Top Hat. And then the first Sonic was in Stillwater.
They've redone that particular.
That's what I heard.
And it looks really nice, and a new sign and even a statue, I think.
Is that right? Oh, we'll have to go by next time we're in Stillwater.
That's neat.
Yes.
You always see someone taking pictures. It's a good photo op. Well, being from Miami, I'd switch gears a little bit too. The glass house, let's not call that anymore, but where the arch is in Bonita.
Yes.
Do you remember anything special about that when you were growing up? Would you? It was golden arches probably when you were.
Yes, it was painted. It was yellow. I just always remember that we were close to home. Whenever we would come, back from somewhere, when you would cross underneath it. So.
Did you remember anything about inside of it? Going inside of it?
I don't remember too much about the inside.
Well, it's not.
We've been in it since they've redone it, and it is very, very nice.
It's not golden anymore. Though.
No.
It's gray.
Yes, but it is very nice.
And it was called the Glass House. I know when it was back when it was first built, and it was restaurant business. So.
Yes, McDonald's was up in it.
And later, yeah.
Uh-huh.
In the 80s or early 90s, it switched to McDonald's. I'm learning. That's a different county, though, I think. Craig County, I guess, isn't
I
it?
think so.
On my way to Ottawa. Well, since we're talking a little bit about the county, is there anything special about Miami that you want to make sure we hear about?
Yes, the Coleman Theater is our jewel here in Miami.
Okay.
It's a beautiful theater, and my husband actually sat on the board there, and it holds a special place in our heart. Our boys have both been on stage, and they're involved in Miami Little Theater, so they've done a few productions there at the Coleman Theater, and it's just a beautiful jewel here in our town.
Well, do they act or sing or dance or do all of that, your sons?
I guess they do all of it, whatever part they have to play.
Well, that's nice.
So it's usually just a small role, with them being still pretty young. So
we should probably, it's Spencer, and then what's the second one?
So in 2008, we had our second son, Sutton, and
Any particular reason you chose that name?
we get asked that a lot. Eddie Sutton is, our favorite. That's who coached the basketball team when Greg and I were at OSU, but we didn't name Sutton after Eddie Sutton. Okay. But I wish we had some great story to tell, but we just, something about that name, it just stuck with us.
And you wanted another S?
Yes.
Another S.
Uh-huh. And a unique name, so.
Well, Spencer, did it come from any particular?
No,
Okay, so they're equal there too.
Yes.
4 years apart.
Uh-huh.
That's two. And they will probably go to OSU.
Well, I hope.
Or at least encouraged.
Yes, absolutely. They have a lot of orange and black. And they sing the alma mater, so.
I usually ask people if they know the words. So
I'm training them.
Do you know the words?
Oh, I could probably rattle them off.
You want to?
Proud and immortal. I hope I don't mess up. Proud and immortal, bright shines your name. See, I have to be singing it at a basketball game to get it all out.
We herald your name, but I don't.
See, we'll have to.
And Lord True's in there somewhere.
Yes, to our alma mater, OSU.
There you go. You'll come with the words later.
Yes.
And they know it. That's good.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So what is it that you do here at Argo? What's your role?
I just come in like a couple of days a week and help pay bills. So that's what I do now. I stayed after we had Spencer. Greg and I decided that I would stay at home to raise the boys. So.
And to keep them active.
Yes. And on top of that, I'm very involved in PTO and different boards around town. So.
And have you taught them to swim?
I have, yes. So we have a pool in our backyard, so.
They didn't go for the gold one day.
Yes, oh yes. After watching Michael Phelps, they were ready to be the next Michael Phelps.
That's good.
Yeah.
So you get out there with them. They can't do it through the winter though. Well,
No, and we don't, well, the NEO has an indoor pool, so,
okay.
but we don't have a swim team here in Miami, just through the high school, not for younger kids.
So we've got the Coleman.
Mhm.
Is there anything else that's historical? I noticed the street sign said something about Goodrich Tire Company.
Yes, part of it is still here. They've started tearing it down. It's pretty contaminated site, I believe, so.
It was a big deal back
It
then.
was a big deal in the 80s, I believe. My grandfather-in-law, Greg's grandfather, worked out there, so it was, B.F. Goodrich was vital to this town, so it devastated the town when they closed down.
Pulled out.
Hmm.
Well, since you really didn't grow up in the town, you don't have memories of it from
Right.
younger days. Joplин's what, maybe 30 minutes from
Mhm.
here?
It's
About
just 30 minutes down the road.
Okay, it's not so really close.
Hmm. And we were in Miami a lot because, like I said, my parents were born and raised here. My grandparents, they lived here forever, and I still have family that lives here.
But did it have a theater downtown besides the Coleman? I mean, just a movie theater.
We do now. It didn't always,
Didn't
but
it?
we do now.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then I usually look for marquees and I didn't see
Mhm.
an older one. Or if I did, I missed it, which is okay too. And where's the public library from here?
So it's just straight down
It was
Main
a
Street.
It was a Carnegie.
library. It
Yeah,
was.
It was.
I sit on the library board, and I didn't know that.
Well,
Oh, you know what? I
think
take that
it's-
back. I do know that. Yes.
It's not being used. That building's not being used as a library. I don't think it's a law firm's office. I think the Carnegie.
Hmm.
That's the extent of my knowledge too. of the Miami Library.
It's a city county library, so our
Okay.
public library is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a little different now. It was a Carnegie way back in the day. And the county fair, I'm assuming they have
Yes, it just wrapped up over this last weekend, so it's always a big deal. It's always the first week that the kids are back in school, and
one. You take yours
a
and
lot
go.
of fun. Yes, we don't miss it. When the boys were younger, they would participate in the bucket calf show. So they would have, they would raise a calf. They weren't old enough to be considered, in the real beef show at the fair. So for the younger kids, to get them involved and to keep them involved, they let them have a bucket animal. And so my boys would raise a bucket calf with a lot of help from mom and dad, and then they would show it at the fair, and they would, ask them questions about raising their animal, and so it's a great learning experience for them because they have to learn what responsibility is.
And then did they get involved with 4-H or if?
They have not. They haven't since then. They're ready to jump back in. My father-in-law has a farm or a ranch just south of town, so they're ready to get their hands dirty again. I don't know if I'm ready for the commitment because it is a big time commitment.
Yeah,
So,
but
and not living on, on a ranch or a farm makes it a little bit inconvenient, but not too bad because it's not too far
well,
south of
their
town.
ages, they're old enough to do 4-H, I guess. I don't know how to start.
Spencer is in middle school, but Sutton, I think he has to wait another year. I think you have to be 9 to
I think that's right. somewhere in there.
participate. Mhm.
Well, I mean, that's another reason that they'll end up at OSU if they get
Yes.
involved with
That's right.
4-H roundup
Mhm.
and go to campus some. So maybe get your hands dirty.
Yeah. I think I enjoyed raising the calf as much as the boys did, though.
Well, it sure would be hard to part with it though, wouldn't it?
Yes. Oh, it's very hard.
Yeah. I
Yes.
would have trouble.
Uh-huh.
I probably couldn't. And so they go to school here in Miami.
They do.
Both of
Mhm.
them.
Spencer is at Will Rogers Middle School, and Sutton is at Rockdale Elementary.
And then the high school is just Miami High School.
Yes.
And what's its mascot?
The War Dogs. And I believe that we are the only War Dog mascot in the United States.
I'm not even sure what a war dog is.
It is, so they're bulldogs that they would send into the trenches. I hope I'm accurate.
That's a good guess.
During the war. Yes, the War Dogs. That's what my dad always told me, I believe. They are. Yes, they're tough.
Well, how often do you get back to campus on a regular basis, or just on?
We go a few times a year.
Football games or
football and basketball games. Yes.
Yeah, they're switching. We'll see how the basketball goes this year.
Yes.
The new coach. It looks like he's going to be good. But.
Yes, it's always exciting to bring somebody new in, see how the year's going to turn out.
Well, when you were there, do you remember who was the president? 96 or 2000. I'm not sure.
President Halligan was the.
Halligan was there. Okay. Okay.
Of the university.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So did you have an occasion to meet him?
I never got to.
Did you?
Mm-mm. I never got to meet him.
I didn't either. I mean, we came about that time. I just remember seeing him around campus now that you mentioned his name. And then Smidley came after that, I think. He may have been, you already gone by then, I
I
guess.
think so. I think President Halligan was there for all 4 years.
Yeah, then he went on to be in the state legislature, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I think he stopped that too. I think he's finished. Not doing it again. Got off track there. Besides being in a sorority, were you involved in any other, like student government or anything like that at OSU?
I was involved in the Education Student Council.
Okay.
That's about the extent of my
It gives you
involvement.
some leadership or
Yes.
experience too.
Mm-hmm.
And sorority gives you that too.
Yes.
Because you have to be in charge of various things there.
Right.
I think it's always interesting that they have similar colored dresses. So for you'll see this group goes by.
Yes.
It's pretty. I mean, you like to see which colors they picked out, and something must be going on,
Mm-hmm.
Carrying their high heel shoes and wearing their flip flops.
Yes. You watched them go through Rush just not too long ago.
Yeah. And they must have had a drone to take a picture of looking down, and it was just a massive amount of people on.
I hear the numbers are
university.
huge.
Massive amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good for the university. The town seems more alive when they show up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
A lot more alive, yes.
I know, just having NEO here in Miami, when summer comes and all the students leave, it's, I live close to NEO, so it's very quiet. So it's always fun to have those students back on campus and
Makes a big difference.
activity.
Did you have a house mother? I'm assuming you had a house mother.
Yes.
The same one all 4 years, 3 years, 4 years?
Actually, my freshman year, Mom Copeland, she was an elderly lady, so she was my first year, and then we had a new house mom. Mom Eads, Peggy Eads, was our house mom for the final 3.
And that's what you call them? Mom
Yes.
Eads, or-
Uh-huh. We did.
Did
They're
they-
so sweet to be our mom for the time that we spend in the house.
Do they keep pretty good tabs on you?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Pretty good. They had their own little living quarter though, so we wouldn't disturb them too much. But they would always join us for dinners, and so it was.
Share advice or?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Would they?
Mm-hmm. When you would sit at their table at dinner, so it was on Monday nights at formal dinner. You could go and sit at Mom's table, the head table. So
You got selected to, or you could just volunteer to, or did it rotate?
I think it would just rotate through.
I wondered if they would offer too much advice, or just if you came and asked them for
I think
something,
just
they'd
if you
tell
wouldn't ask. Yes.
And they were usually just the women. The husband wasn't.
No.
Single women for whatever reason. I think that would be a neat job too.
Oh yes, I think it'd be so much fun.
You have to teach them how to do their laundry.
Yes.
I guess, I mean.
And to be there, you know, if somebody wanted to come in and just needed somebody to talk to, and
Did you have a curfew?
no curfew.
None, none.
Not that I can remember. But I'm not a night owl, so.
Well, what would the two of you do for dates then?
Well, we'd go to a lot of movies and Applebee's a lot. It seemed like it was about the only. El Chico was in town. We would go to El Chico all the time. Yes, and then different fraternity and sorority parties.
Well, there were several, well, I don't know about that, several, 1 or 2 movie theaters. No, probably by that time just one.
Just the one.
Just one.
Mm-hmm.
In 96, Hideaway was already there. That was,
Yes,
it was,
we frequented
been there for a
Hideaway.
while. And then
And Joe's, those are all fun places to go.
the Tumbleweed.
You know, in all my 4 years, I never went to the Tumbleweed. I tell people that and they cannot believe it. I said, I don't know why I never went. I can't believe it either. I'm gonna have to take my boys, at least point out the building or something. But I've never been.
No, I haven't either, so, or I haven't even been by it. I know, I
Me
have a general
neither.
idea where it is, but go to a cafe, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it was dancing mostly, wasn't it?
Right.
So you would have, your sorority would have had dances,
Mhm.
and they probably would not have had them there.
Right.
So there wasn't any need to necessarily go. And closer to the strip, there was a couple places down on the strip, I guess. that
The
you
Wormy
could-
Dog was on the strip. I guess changed now. What else was on the strip? Well, Coney Island was there. What else was on the strip?
The Wormy Dog.
It was a
Saloon.
saloon. And then we would have our sorority would have functions underneath at the Underdog. So, because if you weren't of age, you couldn't go upstairs to the real saloon.
And they would card you
Mhm.
to make sure.
Oh yes, I think they would even give you wristbands or mark your hand, something. But definitely they were sticklers. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good to know.
Oh yes.
When you come out and look up there, you see the library. After a night out. Huh?
Yes.
I think the other place on the strip that's not there anymore was Ron's. Was it Ron's?
Oh yes.
On the far end.
Mm-hmm.
Hamburger place. I
Ron's
think.
Hamburgers.
And then the laundromat was there. I don't know if it's still there. or
Duds
not.
and Suds.
Yes.
My husband used it all the time. All the time. And I used it a few times when I was too lazy to do my own laundry.
Would they do it for you?
Yes, you would take in your bags of dirty laundry and they would wash it and fold it, and yes, you paid them to do your laundry. Or you could stand there and do your laundry yourself. But
Well, I didn't know they had that.
so when it got back, you know, when your laundry was really backed up, yes.
And you didn't want to
And
take
you're in
the
a
time.
pinch, yes.
Well, it must have been reasonably priced for students to do.
Oh, somewhat.
Well, you're just desperate.
Yes, you were desperate. So
And would he do his or just drop them off?
no, he would drop it
them
off.
and let it off.
Yes.
Did he work while he was on campus?
No, he didn't. He would just work in the summers.
Tuition wise, did you have scholarships or your parents paid, or how did that work?
I had financial aid, and then my out-of-state tuition was waived. At the time, they had a fee waiver if you ACT and GPA was a certain
Okay.
number. So that helped.
That helped,
Oh,
yes.
it helped a lot.
If that hadn't been in place, you
I
might
probably
not-
wouldn't have gone.
I wonder if they still do that. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know if they still do. It was a great deal.
A significant
Mhm.
difference, sure.
Yes.
And was still that way when your sister
Yes.
came too?
Mhm.
So your parents got
Yes.
a good deal.
Uh huh.
Two smart girls, well, 3, but 2 that went to OSU.
Yes.
Well, what about Greg? Did he have scholarships or his?
So
parents
he
did?
had I believe it was just his first year, the valedictorian scholarship,
Okay,
because he was valedictorian of his class, so
yeah, that's first.
that helped.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, you got out without owing too much student debt. Then by the time you got out of OSU, you didn't have any. Basically.
Well, I had to take loans out to go through school, so I did have
You
student
had
loans.
some. Okay, I should
Yes.
ask that instead of just assume.
No, I had student loans that I had to pay back.
Okay. Yeah, let's see if the presidential election changes all that, won't we?
That's right.
So when Greg graduated, well, you would have gone to his,
Mm-hmm.
and it was probably in the
It was out. It was
football stadium
yes.
too, huh? Everybody's family comes to watch.
Oh yes.
Big deal.
Big deal.
Big deal.
It's such a special day.
Were they doing the bagpipes then, or is that more of a recent thing?
I think that's more recent. I can't remember if we walked, because they do it. I don't remember.
Currently,
terrible.
they'll come down.
Uh-huh.
And they take turns walking across the stadium, and it's quick
Uh-huh.
because there's so many.
I have pictures of that day. I probably should have looked through them to bring back some memories, but
That's okay. Do you?
I still have my medallion.
Okay.
I do. I have my medallion.
When you moved into Drummond,
Mm-hmm.
what sort of things did you take with you? I mean, like a refrigerator, microwave, what those
I
type of
think
things?
we rented it through the dorm, like a
refrigerator?
combo, a refrigerator, microwave combo. It was little. I didn't take just a whole lot of stuff from home because the internet. It was just like I remember that was my first email address at OSU, and so it was kind of. I feel like it was still new. Maybe I was out of date going to school, but
Well, and then when you moved into the house, you wouldn't have had you wouldn't have needed,
no,
needed
the
that
kitchen
sort of
was
thing.
there, and
So you and your
Just-
roommate had matching bedspreads?
we did never
and
match. Not in. I didn't know my first roommate in Drummond, so it was a stranger. We met each other, I think, the day we moved in for Rush,
Okay.
and then in the sorority house, everybody just brought their own comforter, and so we didn't all. It wasn't all matchy matchy.
I wondered.
Some rooms probably were, but
We've had people tell us that they just went with one suitcase. That's all they went with. And then, of course, you accumulate
you
things.
definitely do. I just remember taking like carloads. I would fill up my back end and take it down, and the next trip home I'd take another load down. And
Well, when you registered for class, was it on computer, or did you have to stay in the line with paper and pencil? Do you remember?
ooh, I think it was paper and pencil. I just sat down face to face with someone.
And then they probably punched it in the computer.
Right.
Well, that's changed a lot too.
It's probably all done. Do people even have to go on campus anymore?
No, I don't much think that they do, really.
Yeah.
Not even maybe to pay your brochure account, and maybe not even then.
Probably, yeah.
I know registering you don't. You
Mhm.
just do it all online.
Mm-hmm.
And computers weren't. I mean, they were just. You're right. They were just beginning to switch. In the library, I don't know. No, the card catalog was gone by the time. You remember it?
Oh yes, I remember the card catalog.
Okay. Wasn't sure in '96 if the big one there as you come up the steps, if it was gone by then or not. I don't remember seeing it there when I started in '99, so it must have gone somewhere in that mix there. Changed we accept. It's sad. Some
I don't
days.
even think my boys know
Know
what a
what
card
it-
catalog is.
Well, if you want to show them one, I know where one is. It's in the back inner sanctum of the library, just to have, and I think as much as anything. It's cool though. I think they're neat to see.
Mm-hmm.
That's changed, and then you didn't have a car? You had a car.
I
You
did
had
have a
you had a
car.
car because you
Mhm.
drove from your
I
house
did.
to the
Right.
just up the block or two.
Yes.
And did most of your sorority sisters had a car? I guess.
Yes, most of us did.
You didn't have to bum rides too much.
Yes, not too many.
Would you go to away games when you were there?
Not too many away games. I remember that like when OSU made it to the Alamo Bowl. I remember a group of us going to San Antonio, so that was a fun time.
Well, and since you didn't try out for cheerleading your first year, you didn't think about doing it
No.
second, third, just one and
Because
done,
I didn't
so-
stick with any workouts or gymnastics, so no, I didn't. I admire all the cheerleaders and pom girls because it takes so much of their time.
Yes.
I had some pledge sisters that were pom girls, and quite a few girls in our house were pom girls and cheerleaders, and they work on all the time. It's very demanding.
And band wasn't part of your high school and college
I wasn't very involved in the band. I didn't ever take up a musical instrument, so I wish I did now. It would be nice to. I did.
It's a different.
I like to move, so it's stay active.
And what do you do today to stay active besides swim?
I walk a lot. I do Pilates 2 days a week, and I really enjoy Pilates. The Pilates studio that I go to, we kind of rotate around, and we do bar classes, and so that's kind of a dance. And then we do silks, so it's kind of an aerial, I don't want to say acrobatics, but
I've seen pictures of
yes.
that. Yeah.
So I really enjoy
You have to
all
have
of that.
upper arm strength to do those. Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool too.
Yes, and it's fun that it's mixed up all the time, so you don't ever get bored.
Well, maybe your sons can be cheerleaders.
Maybe. They were in
Or-
gymnastics for a while, but then their schedules with other sports, it gets too, something had to go. Unfortunately, it was gymnastics this year.
Maybe we'll work for them to be Pete.
That's right.
Be Pistol Pete.
Yes.
That's a pretty good gig.
Uh-huh.
Or I know it's time consuming for them too, but
Yes.
they get to do and see so many people
Mm-hmm.
make a good impression. And
Yes,
meet a lot of interesting people.
a lot. And what a way to represent the university, to be Pete.
So if your sons are, do my math here, one would be 12
Mm-hmm.
and then 8.
Yes, 12 and 8.
So in 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
we'll still be at OSU. I'll expect to see Spencer or Sutton
Yes,
come through.
that's right.
And Pistol Pete, we'll work on that. We have some interviews with some former Pistol Petes if they're interested at some point,
Uh-huh.
just to hear some of them detail
Yes.
what all is involved.
And I think one of the current Pistol Petes is, he's from around here because he went to church with us for a while and then they moved. So, yeah,
Oh,
I actually had him in my Awana group.
They do neat things. I mean, even do weddings and
Yes,
and
all
all
events.
sorts of things.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah, neat part of OSU
It
history.
is.
What do you have a favorite memory or two from your time on campus?
Probably homecoming is
Yeah.
one of my favorite memories. I don't know that I have a specific homecoming, but there's just so many activities that whole week, and with it being fall, just the change of season, I don't know. There's so much excitement and energy on campus. I think that, and I'm sure everybody says homecoming, but really that is so special to the university.
Well, did your house win any of the house decks or any awards
Gosh,
while
I'm
you were
sure,
there?
I'm sure we probably did.
That was an exciting day.
Oh, yes.
They get really excited in the
Yes,
stadium when their name is called.
For sure.
A lot of hard work paid off.
Yes, it does.
Well, did Greg post to you on campus?
He didn't. We were in Miami. We came home. It was Halloween, and so I have twin nephews, or my sister has twin boys, and then my sister-in-law, she has 3 boys. So I'm trying to think. It was '99. So we came home for Halloween because we wanted to see our nephews, 3 of them at the time. So we were home and at his parents' house, and he gave me a bag of Halloween candy, and he proposed to me. So.
Orange and black. That's what I'm coming.
Yes, orange and black.
Halloween's orange.
So then I
and black.
ran over to my grandparents because, like I said, their yards kind of joined. So yeah, it was.
That's sweet.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. So we were around family and.
What kind of candy?
Oh, I still have it in my drawer. I don't even know what candy with chocolate, because I love chocolate. So
not candy corn. That's what I think it was for Halloween. So no.
and none of it's melted, but I just keep it in my nightstand drawer.
And did you get married here in Miami?
We got married in Joplin.
Uh-huh. In this part of the world. Yes.
Yes.
And then when y'all came back here was in 2004. So you've been here 12 years so far.
Mm-hmm.
You plan to stay? No desire to go elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And your parents still in
Yes,
the, in
they're
the
still
area?
close.
Still in the area. So grandparents are involved.
Right.
And OSU's close.
Yes, it is. OSU is close.
Anything else you want to add before we close? You want to talk more about it, Greg?
Sure.
We can.
Yeah.
He came back here and worked for you, was working for your dad,
Mhm.
and then
So he was working for his dad. Let's see, in 2014, in March,
he was diagnosed with.
of 2014, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and continued to work right alongside his dad. And he went for treatment in Dallas, and then last July 2015, he passed away. But since then,
I noticed they had came across a YouTube video where all of your friends had done a video
I forgot about that.
of
Yes.
to the tune
Yes, Happy.
and they were a lot of
That
OSU fans
a lot.
in that
We
movie.
have a lot of friends here that are OSU supporters or alums. Yes, so that was, so Greg had surgery in April of 2015. No, of 2014. My years are all mixed up. Yes. And in May, we moved to Dallas so he could go through radiation and be closer to his neuro-oncologist. And so when we moved, all of our friends back here in Miami, they organized a flash mob. So they recorded this flash mob and sent it to us as we, once we got to Dallas, showing their support. And my sister came up with a slogan of Smith Strong. So there are lots of Smith Strong shirts floating around, and they're orange and black.
Cool.
So it was incredible to see all the support from everyone. I'm sorry, I didn't think I would get this emotional.
Oh, it's fine. We don't have to if you want.
And actually, with Greg being from Miami, he had known Larry Reese because Larry is from here. And Larry was very supportive of Greg through all of his treatment. And when Larry was diagnosed with cancer, throat cancer, he actually invited us down to the boys and I and Greg to a game, and he and Greg got to bond, so that was really special because the support was unbelievable. Humbling, actually. But since Greg has passed, this last weekend we had a memorial golf tournament in his memory. Because I had the idea I wanted to make sure that children who had lost a parent, to cancer, could continue with their education because it is so devastating. So with the help of Spencer Haynes, who's a dear friend. He helped me work with the foundation to come up with this scholarship, and we wanted it to be an endowed scholarship. And so this first annual golf tournament that we had over the weekend, we were able to fully endow the scholarship.
Great.
So the scholarship will be given to, first priority is to students who have lost a parent to cancer, or whose parents have been affected by cancer, or if they have personally been affected by cancer. We want to make sure that they have the opportunity to further their education, and especially at OSU, because it is such a special place.
Okay.
It was such a special place to Greg and I, and always will be to me and my family.
And what's it called?
It's the Gregory D. Smith Family Endowed Scholarship.
Okay. And it can
So,
be any major?
People, yes,
Any major.
students will have to self-identify themselves. But yes, we were able to fully fund it over the weekend, plus some. So it's incredible. It'll just continue to grow. And
I don't have any idea how much it takes to endow
so
something.
$25,000 is the minimum to endow a scholarship.
Okay. What did Greg play golf?
Golf was his passion. He played all through high school and continued to play. That's actually how he found, or one way he knew something wasn't right before he was diagnosed. He could not get his golf ball to stay on his tee when he would tee off, because he had a little bit of a tremor in his hand. So, and then anytime he would drive the ball, so it would never go straight. And he thought, I really need to practice my game. But come to find out, that's not what it was. Something else was going on. So,
Did he ever get a hole in one?
he never told. I don't know. He has never.
You would know
He
if
never
he
told
did.
me if he got a hole in one.
Oh, that's something they brag about, I guess.
Yeah.
So you would know. if you
Yeah.
did.
So that's why we picked a golf tournament.
Where did you have it?
We had it at La Fortune Golf Course in Tulsa,
Okay.
so that people from Oklahoma City and Tulsa and his fraternity brothers from Kansas City, it was kind of a central location. So
Did
that
we,
was-
did we say what his fraternity was?
he was a Sigma Nu.
Sigma.
So his pledge class is very, very close, and they've stayed very good friends since they graduated from OSU, and they're very supportive of each other.
Do you play golf?
I don't. Greg tried to teach me. I'm not very patient. I want to be good right away, and golf takes time.
Just
So I play around with Spencer and Sutton now, because I want them to love the game like Greg did.
You drive the cart, nothing
Oh
else.
yes. I can drive that golf cart.
That's what I could do too. I couldn't do the other. I tried, can't do it.
Yes.
Oh, that's a sweet. So that'll go on every year, or
It will. We're going to make it an annual golf tournament. Yes.
and then all funds will go into this.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna
Mhm.
keep growing, so you
Right.
may end up having two down the road.
That is our
To
goal,
scholarship.
as many as we can, because so many people, especially these days, are affected by cancer.
Yes.
Mhm.
True. So it would be good for a year or a semester or a certain amount per.
I believe it's a certain amount per year.
So they could reapply,
Yes.
could get it a second time.
Right.
If needed.
Mm-hmm.
It's neat. It's neat.
Yes.
It was very tough to go through all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And the family, I mean, that video was just priceless too. Even had an OU fan in there.
Probably. Probably, with him going to law school at OU. Yes.
OU's okay.
It is.
It is. I mean,
It-
everybody likes their schools.
Yes.
And that's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
Right. And then there were so many people after the Smith Strong shirts were out. They would send us pictures of where they were wearing their Smith Strong shirt, and who they got to put their Smith Strong shirt on. And so we have photo books, 2 photo books full of pictures of everybody in their Smith Strong shirt, or so it's very meaningful.
Smiths. Are they from here? Were they originally from here? His parents?
Yes, they were born and raised here in Miami. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, still here, and yes, supporting the community.
Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So the winners of this endowed should get a shirt that says Smith.
Yes, yes.
Strong.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good idea. Neat, and giving back.
Mhm.
Gives back.
Yes,
I think he would approve, wouldn't he?
I hope so. I think so.
Yeah. And golf to boot.
Yes.
Anything else you want to add?
I don't know. Not that I can think of.
No.
I think we covered.
Do you want to try the alma mater again?
Oh, you'll have to give me just a minute. I gotta get the tune in my head. I don't know that I'm gonna say it right. Proud and immortal. Oh my goodness. See, I need to write it down. Proud and immortal, bright shines your name. Oklahoma State, we herald your fame. Ever you'll find us loyal and true to our alma mater, OSU.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I got it. Without it playing in the background.
You can sing it? Or
I
you
can
wanna-
sing it, but I'm not about to sing it.
I was going to give you an opportunity.
Oh no.
Well, we'll end on the note that you got the words.
I did.
Yes. So thank you for having me
Yes.
today and sharing your story.
Oh, thank you so much for coming.
It's been great.
Thank you.